Hello.
Hello, Greg. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine.
Right. What is your name?
My name is Momin, and you, Greg? Yeah, right?
Call me Greg. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So I watched your video on your profile. So I saw that you are saying that um, you evaluate the student level first. Then you give him an advice on how to improve the thing that you want to improve, right?
Yes. Yes.
So the thing is, I need to improve my vocabulary. I need to speak fluently. Usually, I speak better than that, but when I speak to a native speaker or someone, you get stumbled. You feel like you have obstacles, and you don't know how to speak fluently, how to get the words from your mouth fluently. So how to improve that? I watched so many videos on YouTube, and you know
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's hard. I mean, it's one of the hardest things to improve when learning a language. So I separated into like two categories. I have like learning vocabulary, and then fluency is the other one. So fluency, people have a different definition of it. Each teacher, for me, fluency is sounding like how much you sound like a native speaker, right? And
yeah
how you speak. You speak like very fluid. You don't have many pauses when you speak, right? So that's like fluency to me as a teacher. Other teachers may disagree. I don't know. But then, so I that skill is improved by just repeated conversation over a long period of time and really talking to a lot of native speakers. That's why you see people who, if you know anyone, or if you've seen anyone who moves to an English speaking country for like 1 year or a period of time, they develop that accent of the country, right? So it's because you're every day, every hour of every day, you're hearing that accent over and over, and your brain picks up that accent, and that's how you get fluent in the best way. But I think speaking on Cambly or something, you're still talking to native speakers, which is great. So it might take a little bit longer, but you just have to sustain this practicing every week as much as possible, talking to as many people as possible for long periods of time, and really build it up slowly. And then speaking of vocabulary, that one is more specific. So that one you can really target a specific topic or a specific type of vocabulary. So I recommend like either thinking about or creating like a list of what specific type of vocab you want to learn. Is it, for example, business vocab or vocab with traveling, or, idioms, or you want to learn more phrasal verbs, right? Trying to make it as specific as possible, because obviously there's millions of words like in English and millions of expressions, and they can change too, depending on which country you're in. So it's just about like really focusing on what type of vocab you think you want and what you need and what you think you will use in the future. That's how I've always looked at it.
Great, but the thing is, every single word that you said right now, I can understand it completely. I can understand the sentences that you mentioned, the conversation overall, every single word. But when it gets to speaking, I can't remember the word that I know. I already know. I can't remember it. I can't express the thing that I want to say. Even so, I know this word. If I turn it off the call right now, I can speak way better than if I'm calling someone or I'm talking in real with someone. So you are saying it will get better. It would get better by practicing.
Yes. So that skill. So the reason why that happens is because when you're speaking to someone, your brain, you have to train like your mind and your brain to think very quickly in a second language, which is not something that's easy. That's obviously very difficult to do. So that's why when you're listening, when you're hearing me speak, listening, you're just taking in like all of what I'm saying. And usually, like, you know, if you're starting from a beginner level, let's say, for example, your listening you'll grow your listening at a faster pace than you're speaking, right? Because speaking, it's that extra skill, it's that extra difficulty of not only like worrying about your grammar and pronunciation, but you have to think of, you don't have the luxury of time, like if you were writing an email, or if you were like reading, or if you're like, you know, if you're like speaking, it has to be in a fluid manner. So that goes back to fluency, where that's why it's so important to speak to people, because you have to practice that skill of training your mind to think very quickly in the language that you're learning. And it's just from my experience and from what I've seen with my students over time, especially on Cambly, is repetition in speaking, practicing that skill, engaging in conversation. And I like to, you know, I tell my students, you want to be talking about different things. You don't want to, you want to learn new vocabulary, but you don't want to repeat the same words every class. You want to train your mind to think and speak about many different things, because that's, you know, you never know what you're going to have to talk about in the future. So
great. So I'm thinking of a method to improve it. If I need to speak about weather, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna study phrases, words, idioms about weather, and I'm gonna practice it with someone. So maybe I call you, and today I need to practice vocabulary about weather. So how about talking about this topic?
I think
Right?
that's very smart. Yeah, I think that's exactly what I think. That's exactly what you should be doing. The only thing I would say, if like, let's say you're planning on calling me, for example, either whether that's if you have a reservation or if you just want to call me whenever you're available and you see me online, what I would do is, and I think other teachers like this too, is just like send like a quick message and be like, oh, I think we may have class today, or if you have a reservation, then obviously I know you have a class with me. So I would just, I want to do weather vocab today, or I have a list, or you can even request to me, be like, oh, I want to improve my vocab with weather. Do you have any material, or do you have any idioms or expressions that would be good for this? So that would give me time to prepare for you and give you the best possible vocab that you can learn. So
Perfect.
I think that's good. I think that's the right way